Good morning, America. The escalation in Los Angeles, an unprecedented move by the health secretary, and a gravity-defying moment on the diamond. Breaking overnight. Los Angeles police out in force as demonstrators against federal immigration raids took to the streets for a fourth night. California Governor Newsom and President Trump clashing over the president doubling the National Guard deployment and dispatching hundreds of active duty Marines to the city. Our Matt Gutman is on the scene.
Health Secretary Kennedy purging a crucial CDC advisory committee that helps set vaccine recommendations, including immunizations for children. The concern this morning.
A big win for Blake Lively in the Justin Baldoni legal drama. This morning, Lively's reaction, plus what her lawyer is telling us, and what Baldoni could still submit to the court.
Deadly plane crash. The investigation after a small plane plummeted into the ocean off San Diego with 6 people on board.
Call her daddy's Alex Cooper.
I experienced something extremely painful. It was all taken away from me.
Alleging she was sexually harassed by a coach while playing soccer at Boston University.
It was this psychotic game of, you want to play? Tell me about your sex life.
Plus, what she's accusing the school of and why she says she's telling her story now.
Remembering Sly Stone. The funk pioneer and frontman for Sly and the Family Stone, who made a powerful mark on music.
Denzel defying gravity.
He caught it! I can't believe it!
The rookie with the ultimate robbery overnight.
Good morning, America! You ready?
And 4 more days.
This is like I'm with the Avengers.
We are heading back in time as we get fired up for our new studio.
Come on, man!
Oh, I don't want none!
We are on our way.
Hang on, Laverne!
Yes, hang on, because we still have a few more high notes to hit in Times Square.
Live from Times Square, it's Tuesday. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Some great memories here in Times Square. I like that. That's from memory.
Cosby Show. I can't believe I let them put a picture of me dancing up there in the open.
Oh, George, we're just getting started. We're just getting started. Imagine what we got in the show. We have a lot coming up here in the show. That's part of it. But Ginger is also tracking the severe weather that could impact millions.
That is coming up. We're going to begin with that tense situation in Los Angeles. Protests against federal immigration raids have gone into their 5th day. Trump administration is sending 700 Marines to the city.
And President Trump ordered the deployment of 2,000 more California National Guard troops, making for a total of 4,000 over the objections of Governor Gavin Newsom, who was challenging the action in court. Our chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman, is on the scene for us there in L.A. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, Robin, good morning. And it's entirely possible that by the end of today, there could be nearly 5,000 California National Guard and Marines deployed here in Southern California. The question is, where will they be sent and where are they going to be housed? Now, at this point, Governor Gavin Newsom has said that they do not need them here in Southern California. And we were out here in the streets here around the federal courthouse last night as a massive contingent of local law enforcement broke up the 4th night of protests here. Overnight, hundreds of police in riot gear facing down protesters for a 4th consecutive night of clashes. The administration now making the unprecedented move of dispatching 700 active duty Marines to the streets of Los Angeles and increasing the California National Guard presence to over 4,000. Throughout much of the day, a quiet tension had settled over the city. That didn't stop the administration from bypassing the governor, who said he did not ask for this support and doesn't want it.
You can see how much smoke is being deployed on the other side by the LAPD. That is, these officers are moving people away from the federal building. You can see federal law enforcement there and California National Guard, and there's skirmishes right up and down this street with law enforcement.
This protester, Addie, says she's been out on the protest lines for 4 consecutive days now.
Why is this personal for you?
It's personal for me. I was undocumented once. I came to this country when I was 5 years old. I've lived here without an identity until I was 20 years old. Thanks to my mother, thanks to my grandmother, who came here and led the way, I've been able to have a successful career.
And overnight, California Governor Gavin Newsom mocking the deployments.
The absurdity of this cannot be understated. There were 2,000 National Guard that were, quote unquote, deployed, of which only 315 actually were mission assigned. 1,700 have no particular role or responsibility.
Embattled LA Mayor Karen Bass warning that Trump might be using LA as a trial run for other cities.
A test case for what happens when the federal government moves in and takes the authority away from the state or away from local government. I don't think that our city should be used for an experiment. Well, maybe we can do this to other cities.
Earlier in the day, the president suggesting that Newsom should be happy he sent in the military, that Southern California was a, quote, mess. He even suggested it might be a good idea if his border czar, Tom Homan, arrested the California governor.
I would do it if I were Tom. I think it's great.
When asked by our Karen Travers what crime Newsom has committed to warrant arrest, the president responding,
I think his primary crime is running for governor because he's done such a bad job.
Newsom in a post on X writing, Donald Trump admits he will arrest a sitting governor simply because he ran for office. I asked border czar Tom Homan about the feud.
This morning, the president said arresting Gavin Newsom is a great idea.
The governor's backing me.
That's what you should be doing.
The president's backing me up. If you violate the law, and he knows better than anybody. He's a president of the United States, and they arrested him.
Homan overseeing part of the federal response on the ground from Los Angeles. The administration recently slamming protesters for concealing their faces with masks. Critics arguing ICE agents have been concealing their identities using face coverings and unmarked vans.
Why don't you ask me why the protesters are wearing masks? Why are they wearing masks? To hide their identities because they don't want to go to jail.
Correct. But they're protesters and not employees of the federal government.
Our officers are wearing masks to protect themselves and their families.
Border czar Tom Homan also telling me that those ICE raids and arrests are going to continue here in Los Angeles and elsewhere around the country in the coming days. That likely means more protests, and I wanted to give folks at home a sense of what those less lethal weapons are. Now, this is a 40-millimeter rubber-tipped round that's fired from a launcher at protesters. This is a piece of foam that's sort of fired at the ground. Now, these are meant to hurt protesters, but they are not meant or designed to maim or to kill them. George.
Okay, Matt, thanks very much. Let's begin our chief Washington correspondent, Jon Karl. And John, during his first term, the president recognized that he couldn't send in the military to over the objections of local authorities. He told that to me during his town meeting during the campaign. Now he may be breaking the law, and he's certainly breaking precedent.
George, this is something that has almost never happened in modern American history. The idea of the President of the United States sending military forces into a locality without against the objections of local leaders. The last time it happened was in the 1960s, and that was Lyndon Johnson sending in the National Guard to protect civil rights protesters. So yes, this is something that is almost unprecedented. Under these circumstances, I would argue is entirely unprecedented.
And John, the president's concern over law and order is certainly selective. He praised and pardoned hundreds of protesters who ransacked the Capitol, tried to block the election certification, and over 150 police officers were injured in that raid.
Well, and I would, if you're talking about January 6th, George, I think that the real comparison here is the calls at the time while the Capitol was under attack. I was covering that story. There were calls for the president to send in the National Guard. He did not send in the National Guard. Ultimately, it was the mayor of Washington, D.C., in coordination with the Secretary of the Army and the acting defense secretary, who sent the National Guard after hours of that attack going on to Capitol Hill. So this is a very different circumstance than what we saw from the President of the United States back on January 6, 2021.
Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth on Capitol Hill today. He's going to get a lot of questions.
Yeah, this is the very first time that Pete Hegseth will have testified as the Secretary of Defense. So think of all the questions. There's Signalgate. There are all the firings that we have seen at the Pentagon. And, of course, the situation in Los Angeles. A lot of questions. He's sending in active duty military to the streets of Los Angeles. What are the rules of engagement? Will they be authorized to use lethal force? Where are they going to be housed? Why are they not coordinating with local authorities? Those are all questions that Pete Hegseth will likely face today on Capitol
Likely
Hill.
also to face questions about whether or not it's legal to accept that plane from Qatar.
No doubt, $400 million gift from the Qataris, no doubt.
Jon Karl, thanks very much, Michael.
All right, George, thank you. Now to Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. removing all the vaccine experts on a key government panel. Kennedy insists a clean sweep is necessary, but public health groups are expressing serious concerns. Capitol Hill correspondent Jay O'Brien has the story for us. Good morning, Jay.
Yeah, good morning, Michael. This move by Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is unprecedented, firing all 17 members of a crucial CDC advisory committee of highly vetted doctors and public health experts tasked with examining who should get certain vaccines and how often, including children. Kennedy, a vaccine skeptic, writing a, quote, clean sweep is necessary to reestablish public confidence in vaccine science. During his contentious confirmation process, Kennedy pledged he wouldn't prevent or dissuade Americans from getting vaccinated, saying that he supports freedom of choice. And Republican Senator Bill Cassidy, a key swing vote on Kennedy's nomination and a doctor, also says that Kennedy promised him he would not touch this CDC panel. This morning, Cassidy expressing concern, posting about fears the committee will be, quote, filled up with people who know nothing about vaccines except suspicion. Cassidy saying he's talking with Kennedy to ensure that's not the case, but he didn't explain how he'll do that. George.
Okay, Jay, thanks very much. We're going to go overseas now to a school shooting in Austria. Several have been killed. Chief International Correspondent James Longman is tracking the latest. Good morning, James.
Yeah, good morning, George. 10 people are dead in a shooting at a high school in Austria. Police say a former student opened fire at a school in Graz in the southeast of the country at around 10 a.m. local. At least 12 others have been injured, some of them severely. The suspect was 21 years old. Police say he never graduated. They believe the guns he used were bought legally, and he's understood to have turned the gun on himself. A 3-day period of national mourning has now been declared, and the investigation into this young man's motives is now underway. Robert.
We know that you'll keep us updated, James. Thank you. Now, the search for answers in a deadly plane crash in California. All 6 people on the small plane were tragically killed when it went down in the waters off of San Diego. Trevor Ault joins us with those details. Good morning, Trevor.
Good morning, Robin, and you can hear the confusion from air traffic control and this pilot not knowing what was wrong, only knowing they were rapidly losing altitude, and then the plane dropped off radar.
This morning, investigators are working to determine how a small plane plummeted into the ocean just minutes after takeoff in San Diego. Audio shows air traffic control first noticed the plane was flying too low, and the pilot wasn't sure why they were struggling to gain altitude.
4 Bravo Alpha, what seems to be the issue?
Just struggling right now to present maintain steady.
Soon after, that Mayday call, then the plane dropping off the radar.
4 Bravo Alpha, radar contact lost 6 southwest of San Diego Airport.
The twin-engine Cessna was headed to Phoenix with 6 people on board, and preliminary data from the FAA shows every one of them is believed to have died. The Coast Guard is still searching, having found debris and the sheen of fuel offshore.
The pilot says he's struggling. We don't know whether it's with altitude or with flight controls. There's a whole lot of possibilities. None of them are normal for an airplane like this. This is a very resilient twin.
The plane was previously owned by the company Optimal Health Systems, LLC, who tells ABC they personally knew several of the passengers on board, and our sincerest condolences are offered to those affected by the tragedy.
And this crash happened the same day as a skydiving plane crashed in Tennessee. Everyone on that flight survived, but the causes of both crashes are under investigation. Michael?
All right, Trevor, thank you for that. We're going to turn now to the Sean Diddy Combs trial and more testimony from an ex-girlfriend who's taken the stand again this morning. Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katersky is at the courthouse for us. Good morning, Aaron.
And good morning to you, Michael. Defense attorneys will begin cross-examining Sean Combs' ex-girlfriend, who already told the jury that Combs ordered her to have sex with a male prostitute the same night he beat her up. While reading Cassie Ventura's bombshell civil lawsuit against Sean Combs, alleging years of drug-fueled sex with male prostitutes, another ex-girlfriend, known by the pseudonym Jane, told the jury she almost fainted. That was just a harrowing resemblance to what I was experiencing, Jane testified. I just reacted like, I can't believe I'm reading my own story. The jury saw a text message she sent to Combs. I'm crying. I'm so triggered by this because it's too close to some nights I felt forced. Combs texted back, you trying to set me up? This is crazy. She testified Combs threatened to release sex tapes of her and withhold the $10,000 monthly rent he's still paying.
The fact that he was paying for the rent in the apartment where she was living, the fact that she really didn't feel like she could say no to him. This is another factor for the coercion and force of the human trafficking charge.
Combs denies he's a sex trafficker and says all of the sex was consensual. Jane testified she was with Combs in Miami when 2016 hotel surveillance video of Combs attacking Ventura first made headlines. One of his sons knocked on the door and said that something happened, Jane told the jury. I went on my phone and then I saw the video. Jane said Combs showed her a draft of the apology he later posted on Instagram.
I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day.
But Jane testified she experienced similar physical violence. She conceded she started it, knocking Combs into a countertop during an argument and throwing candles at him. She testified, he put me in a chokehold on the ground, lifted me up, and I couldn't breathe. She says he punched her on my forehead and around my eye area, she says, leaving her with welts. And then Sean said just put some ice on it and put an outfit on, before she told the jury he summoned an escort for another sex performance. Jane testified she was meeting with defense attorneys as recently as 2 months ago, and they were the first people she told about the violence. And she said Sean Combs is still paying her legal bills. Guys?
All right, Aaron, thank you so much for being there for us. We're going to turn now. Switch gears. One of the biggest robberies in baseball history, and our sports guy, Sam Champion, is here for
sports. Michael, it is a robbery, and I know you've seen it. You guys have already seen it this morning, but for you who haven't seen it, this is going to make your morning. So I know there's a lot of awards in sports, but if baseball players could win Oscars, this one would take home the gold statue, and not just because his name is Denzel. Okay, we're done. Now, take a look at the Angels batter, Nolan Schanuel. He hits what's clearly a home run, deep into center against the A's. Denzel Clark defying gravity. Oh. Look at this. Then spins. Not only is he up, but he spins. I think we stopped time, ladies and gentlemen, to make the catch over the wall, robbing the Angels of a clear home run. And what's equally amazing, Clark is only at 25 years old, been in the majors for 2 weeks. Wow. Now, I read a little bit behind the scenes, and he goes to his outfields, and he kind of steps them out and looks at them before every game. Is that a thing, his outfields?
His outfield?
Yeah, his. Or the. Okay. For whatever team, whatever, sure. Is it a stadium that he goes to? So he kind of has this figured out in case it happens, but still, that's magic.
He kind of looks like Ricky Henderson.
A little bit, yeah.
You know who that is?
No, have no.
Okay.
I didn't do that.
He had me convinced he knew sports.
Sam on sports. That's got to be a new moniker.
Ricky Henderson, Hall of Famer.
Look him up. Look him up.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, George.
Coming up, Chief Legal Analyst Dan Abrams standing by to break down the new twist in the Blake Lively legal battle with Justin Baldoni. Janae Norman also tracking the latest on the case.
Yeah, a judge dismissing Baldoni's $400 million defamation lawsuit. We'll catch you up on how lawyers on both sides are responding and what Lively herself is saying about the decision coming up.
All right, Janae also had the very personal allegations from Call Her Daddy podcast host Alex Cooper.
And new research linking screen time to emotional and behavioral problems in children and what parents can do. Be right back.
Back here on GMA, Sly Stone with his first #1 hit, Everyday People. And this morning we are celebrating the life of the funk pioneer, and we'll do that just ahead.
First new at 7:30. Russia hit Ukraine with an aerial attack overnight. Video circulating online shows the strikes on Kyiv, with residents reporting waves of drones and missiles. It came after Russia and Ukraine exchanged prisoners in the first stage of an agreement reached during peace talks in Istanbul last week. The swap included wounded soldiers and those 25 years and younger. Ukrainian President Zelensky says additional exchanges are planned. Also, authorities are alerting thousands of people in Illinois about unsafe levels of nitrates in the drinking water. High levels of nitrates can be deadly for babies, potentially unhealthy for everyone else. In Chicago, one water supplier plans to hand out bottled water until the nitrate levels are back to safe levels. Unclear how long that will take.
And the Florida Panthers returned home and took control of the Stanley Cup final. They beat the Edmonton Oilers 6-1 last night in Game 3. It was the first game of the series that did not go to overtime, and Florida is up 2-1 with Game 4 Thursday night.
Right now, we return to the Blake Lively-Justin Baldoni legal battle. A judge has dismissed the director's $400 million defamation lawsuit against Lively, her husband Ryan Reynolds, and the New York Times. We'll speak with Dan Abrams after this report from Janae Norman. Good morning, Janae.
Hey, George. Good morning. Blake Lively posting that she felt, quote, the pain of a retaliatory lawsuit, including the manufactured shame that tried to break her, now celebrating the judge's ruling that she says defeated the suit. This morning, a legal victory for Blake Lively. A judge dismissing Justin Baldoni's $400 million countersuit against Lively and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, as well as this $250 million lawsuit against the New York Times.
Our client, as were we, was thrilled with the results. But I think the most important result is that people understand retaliatory defamation lawsuits are not okay. No one has to be silent.
Lively first filed a complaint against Baldoni with the California Civil Rights Department in 2024, followed by a lawsuit alleging sexual harassment and retaliation during the making of their hit film, It Ends With Us.
I have a really nice view.
I do.
The New York Times was the first to publish portions of Lively's allegations. Just a few weeks later, Baldoni countersuing, accusing Lively and the New York Times of defamation and Lively of extortion, saying she engaged in a vitriolic smear campaign to end his career. His attorney releasing raw footage from the set of This Is Us.
I'm probably getting spray tan too.
That smells good.
But Monday, a judge ruling the alleged facts indicate that the Times reviewed the available evidence and reported, perhaps in a dramatized manner, what it believed to have happened. The Times had no obvious motive to favor Lively's version of events.
I hope that this ruling helps people understand that the kind of claims that were brought here are problematic, and there are laws in place that prevent them from proceeding, and those laws work today.
Sources telling People magazine exclusively that Lively cried with relief after the ruling and posting on Instagram, I'm more resolved than ever to continue to stand for every woman's right to have a voice in protecting themselves. But the judge in the case leaving a door open for Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios, saying they have until June 23rd to submit an amended complaint. So just last week, Baldoni's attorneys proclaiming a legal win after Lively voluntarily withdrew her claim of emotional distress. Now, again, he can still refile an amended complaint if he chooses. Meanwhile, Lively's lawyer says they're looking forward to a judge ruling on the damages that they're seeking for what they called abusive litigation. Guys.
Okay, Janae, thanks. It's been our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. Pretty sweeping victory for Lively here. Surprised?
It's always a little surprising when a judge dismisses at this point in a case, right? This early, without discovery, etc. But what the judge did here is went through each of the claims and basically says, in effect, even if Justin Baldoni's right on the facts, as a matter of law, on each and one of these counts, he can't win. There is no case to bring to a jury as a legal matter, and so the case must be dismissed.
But the judge did leave an opening for him to refile.
Yeah, a limited opening, right? Let's be clear. With regard to the defamation claim, he can't refile it. With regard to the civil extortion claim, he can't refile it. He can refile, the judge is saying, some of the contractual claims. In effect, saying one of the arguments here is that Ryan Reynolds forced WME to fire Justin Baldoni. Well, show the court some of the contracts. Give us a little bit more of the evidence. Refile this in a different way, and the court will then evaluate it again, meaning we'll decide whether that case can move forward. And remember, of course, Justin Baldoni can also appeal this if he decides to do it.
We've been talking about this for quite some time now, and previously you said that you thought this would go to trial.
Yeah.
Has this changed your thinking?
It could, right? This is the only window to avoid a trial, in my view, because Justin Baldoni's the one, I think, who won't give this up, right? He's the one whose career is ended. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are moving on, and they're continuing to do what they do. For Baldoni, losing this is a big deal, really big. So if this case goes away, from his perspective, is it possible Blake Lively would decide to drop the case altogether? It's possible. So there's a little bit more of a window here to potentially ending this, but I don't see this ending really soon. I think Baldoni is going to try to at least do something. Appeal, refile, do something.
All right, we'll see what happens,
Yeah.
man. As always, thank you for your insight. So helpful.
Call Her Daddy podcast host Alex Cooper. We used to listen to Alex talk to some of the most high-profile celebrities about their personal lives, but now Cooper herself is sharing something deeply personal, accusing a former coach of sexual harassment. And Lara, you have this story that's gotten a lot of attention.
It sure has. Good morning to you, Michael. So many of Alex's guests open up to her, and now in a new docuseries, it's Alex herself sharing something that she says changed her life forever.
Welcome to Call Her Daddy.
Hi! She's the voice millions of women tune into every week. Known for interviews with some of the biggest stars of our time.
Ed Sheeran, welcome to Call Her Daddy.
Hey. I've been at this for 60 years. You're one of the best interviewers I've ever had.
Now, Call Her Daddy podcast host Alex Cooper making her own very personal allegations in the new Hulu docuseries Call Her Alex.
I experienced something extremely painful. It was all taken away from me.
The host alleging she was sexually harassed by her soccer coach while she played at Boston University from 2013 to 2015.
I was determined to make a name for myself on that field. So when my coach started to pay extra attention to me, I figured it was probably because I was playing well.
Cooper says everything changed her sophomore year.
I started to notice her really starting to fixate on me way more than any other teammate of mine. And it was confusing because the focus wasn't like, you're doing so well, let's get you on the field, you're gonna be a starter. It was all based in her wanting to know who I was dating, her making comments about my body, and her always wanting to be alone with me.
In the docuseries, Cooper alleges her coach, Nancy Feldman, would put her hand on Cooper's thigh and ask personal questions about her romantic life.
I didn't know what to do, and every time I tried to resist her, she would say there could be consequences, and there were. It was this psychotic game of, you want to play? Tell me about your sex life.
Cooper and her parents say in the docuseries they went to a university dean with Alex's allegations, but their claims were dismissed.
I said, you have no right to do this to my daughter, that this program is out of control.
I felt a lot of anger at my coach, anger at my school, and anger at the system that allowed this to happen.
Boston University and Feldman did not respond to a request for comment. Call Her Alex premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival, where Cooper said she did the docuseries, quote, because I wanted to tell women to come forward. She says when she did initially, she wasn't believed, and then it took her a decade, guys, to come forward again.
Say it again. Oh, wow. All right. Thank you, Lara. We are going to celebrate the life of Sly Stone. The funk music pioneer had a string of hits in the 1960s and 70s with his band Sly and the Family Stone. And I know you're going to take a look at his life and legacy for us, Sam.
Just look how fun. I mean, first of all, Soul Train was the most fun show ever, and Sly and Family Stone was incredible. His family telling us that he lost his battle with COPD on Monday. Sly Stone was once one of the biggest musicians in the country, only to see him suddenly disappear from the music scene for decades. But he had a third act in him, launching a later in life comeback that showed he never lost the ability to captivate those of us who love music.
He was the pioneer of a new sound, blending genres of funk, R&B, psychedelic, and even a few more. Born in Texas in 1943, Sylvester Stewart grew up with music-loving siblings. Together with those siblings, they'd formed the funk band Sly and the Family Stone in 1966. Dance to the Music skyrocketing them to fame, peaking at number 8 on the Billboard Pop Singles chart. By 1969, Sly was a household name, releasing his album Stand, giving him his first number 1 hit, Everyday People. That same year, they performed at the original Woodstock. band was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1993.
Thank you all very much. I love you personally very much, and see you soon.
Sly fought addiction over the years. The Hulu documentary Sly Lives, taking a closer look at his struggles with fame.
Sly was kind of the first black artist to go through that so publicly.
The music legend passing away on Monday after a battle with COPD and other health issues. Sly was 82 years old.
Amazing that we still get a chance to enjoy his music. Sly Stone really defined the 60s and the 70s music for me, and really the generation. He blended rock, soul, jazz, gospel, Latin music to create his one-of-a-kind sound. I just want to remind you, Dance to the Music, which we heard, Hot Fun in the Summertime, which is also a song that it just never goes away for me.
Yeah.
Oh,
so distinctive.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Sam.
Joy.
Appreciate that. Coming up, Lara's going to have some pop news and the BET Awards. Jamie Foxx, you got to see his emotional speech from last night, and Lara's going to share that and a lot more in pop news when we come back.
Just give me one more crack at this.
Good morning, America. It's 8 a.m. Breaking overnight, Los Angeles police out in force. California Governor Newsom and President Trump clash over the president doubling the National Guard deployment, dispatching hundreds of active duty Marines to the city over the governor's objections. Matt Gutman is on the scene.
New research linking screen time to emotional and behavioral problems in children. The surprising finding about the difference between girls and boys gaming and what parents can do.
And we're dancing down memory lane this morning as we get ready to say goodbye to Times Square. From the emotional,
come on out and meet your sister,
to the over-the-top with so much heart and family. As we say, good morning, America.
Live from Times Square, it's Tuesday. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America. It's going to be some tears shed around here, I can tell you that. And we can't wait to take another look back at all the fun we've had here at Times Square Studio over the years.
That Sisters reunion was so
Oh my gosh, they themselves for the first time.
It was really
special.
great. And Ike Ajachi's having fun this morning at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis where the Pacers play, getting ready to honor coach Chris Hawkins. Chris Hawkins, we believe, has no idea he's about to get a huge surprise that's coming up.
Also, we have a special announcement from Jeffrey Lurie. He is the owner of the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Go to hear what he has to say. You'll hear it first here on GMA.
First, look at the top stories breaking at 8. We start with the tense situation in Los Angeles as protests against federal immigration raids go into their 5th day. Trump administration is sending 700 Marines to the city over the objections of local authorities. I want to go back to our chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman, on the scene in L.A. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, George. And it's entirely possible that by the end of today, we could see nearly 5,000 National Guard troops and Marines here in Southern California. Governor Gavin Newsom already saying they are not necessary. And we were out here last night as we watched a massive number of local law enforcement break up the 4th night of protests here. Overnight, hundreds of police in riot gear facing down protesters for a 4th consecutive night of clashes. The administration now making the unprecedented move of dispatching 700 active duty Marines to the streets of Los Angeles and increasing the California National Guard presence to over 4,000. Throughout much of the day, a quiet tension had settled over the city. That didn't stop the administration from bypassing the governor, who said he did not ask for this support.
There were 2,000 National Guard that were, quote unquote, deployed. Of which only 315 actually were mission assigned.
Earlier in the day, the president suggesting that Newsom should be happy he sent in the military, that Southern California was a, quote, mess. He even suggested it might be a good idea if his border czar, Tom Homan, arrested the California governor. Newsom in a post on X writing, Donald Trump admits he will arrest a sitting governor simply because he ran for office.
The president said arresting Gavin Newsom is a great idea.
The governor's backing me.
He said that's what you should be doing.
The president's backing me up. If you violate the law, and he knows better than anybody. He's the president of the United States, and they arrested him.
Now, Homan also telling me that those ICE raids and arrests will continue here in Los Angeles and elsewhere around the country. That likely means more protests, and I wanted to give folks at home a sense of what those less lethal rounds look like. This is a 40-millimeter rubber-tipped round. It's fired from a launcher. It is designed to hurt protesters, but not to maim or to kill them. Michael.
It definitely looked like that would hurt. Matt, thank you for being out there for us from the beginning. And we're going to turn now to new research linking screen time to emotional and behavioral problems in children. Our chief medical correspondent, Dr. Tara Narula, is here with the details. Good morning to you, Doc.
Good morning, Michael.
We know there's research. They looked at nearly 300,000 kids. What were the findings from the study?
Well, this is such important research. We know that screen use is so prevalent in this country. Kids are using it for socialization, education, entertainment. When you look at the numbers, 2/3 of kids 5 to 8 already have their own smartphones and tablets. 40% of kids 8 to 12 are using screens for more than 4 hours per day. You add to that the fact that we're seeing rising rates of mental health disorders in kids, and half of these disorders start before the age of 14, and you can understand why we need to understand the effects of screens on our kids. So this was a large study, a review of 117 other studies of kids under 10 and a half years old who used all types of screens for all sorts of reasons. So computers, televisions, tablets. And they in fact found that kids who use screens were more likely to develop socio-emotional disorders. And then on the reverse, kids who had socio-emotional disorders or problems were more likely to reach for or use a screen. We saw this increased rates in kids who use screens above and beyond those screen limit guideline times, kids who use them for years, more predominant in older kids, and this is important, in kids who used it for gaming or video games. Why might this be happening? Well, researchers say that screens take away from kids' ability to do exercise and be active, from their sleep, from their face-to-face important social interactions with parents and peers. And lastly, it's a way that they use to relieve emotional distress. So instead of learning how to cope in a healthy way when life gets challenging, they're reaching for a phone or a device to soothe them, and they're not learning those healthy coping skills.
Yeah, and that's always the challenge of the parent: screen time, how much, when, what age do you get a phone, all those different things. So what should parents know when it comes to screen time for their kids?
I think, Michael, one of the biggest things is just you have to be invested, involved, and aware of what's going on with your kids. You have to be there for them emotionally, check in on them, and also teach them those social life skills. You want to monitor not just the amount, but the quality of what they're using it for. So if they're using it for educational reasons, if they're using age-appropriate content, you're watching with them, that's probably okay in moderation. And then steering them away from things like gaming and social media. You want to make sure it's not interfering with their sleep, their activity, their socialization. And then, as easy as it is, we've all been guilty of this as parents, when your kid's upset or you're out at a restaurant and you hand them a device, again, you're not teaching them to emotionally regulate how they're feeling on their own. And it's okay to say no and set limits and boundaries, and do it in a non-controlling way as a parent if you can.
Well, as you see, I knew better than to act up in a restaurant.
We've all been guilty of it. Yes.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, as always. Now, a big scientific discovery, the first ever sighting of a live rare squid that was also just happened to be caught on camera for the first time. Sam is here with that video for us.
Robin, we're going to call it Science's Squid Games. And it's super cool because here's a stat that no one really thinks of. Oceans cover like 70% of our planet, but we've only mapped and discovered about 25% of the ocean floor. So there's lots of surprises for us to uncover. So good morning. This is called a Gonatus antarcticus squid, and you're about to see the first ever video of this species alive. There it is. Deep sea camera from the National Geographic and Rolex Perpetual Planet expedition capturing the footage of the 3-foot squid. Now, researchers say they can't really tell about its sex or its age. They didn't get that close, and they really couldn't ask the question because it was so quick. But they could tell what kind of squid it was because this one has a large single hook on each tentacle. So it was discovered by National Geographic, and it says the squid has scratches, had some scratches, and even some suction marks on its arms, if you will, or tentacles. So it means it had some kind of interaction with something that was a little bit of a battle. Otherwise, it appears to be in really good shape. Deep sea spotting, so interesting now. Remember, we've got so much more to explore. So you can find the full story about the amazing discovery at natgeo.com, our friends.
Okay. And the photographs and the video that you see from Nat Geo and National Geographic, just astounding.
Unmatched.
This was
it's really wild.
All right, Sam, thank you. Coming up on our GMA Morning Menu, Philadelphia Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie is going to join us live. There he is. He has an exclusive announcement that's going to really change lives. Thank you, sir. We're going to hear from him in just a little bit.
Also ahead, Mariah Carey with the television debut of her new single.
Plus, George Takei is here, the actor and advocate's joining us with his new book. And
Lara's upstairs with Tori. Hey, Lara.
Hey, Sammy. So more deals and steals. These are perfect for when you're on the go this summer. Tori has it all, as always, from what we wear to sleek tech. So much fun. Stay with us because it's all half off or more coming up on Good Morning America. Stay with us.
Little rain in here in Times Square this morning. How about some pop news?
Perfect day for pop news, right? Hi, George. Good morning, everybody. We begin pop news with the biggest moments at the BET Awards last night. The night was so full of memorable moments, big performances, including, wow, Mariah Carey, everyone, wowing the crowd with her television debut. It's her new single. It's called Type Dangerous. Carey also received one of BET's Ultimate Icon Awards for her lifetime achievement in music and culture. The other one went to Jamie Foxx, who gave an emotional speech sharing his private conversation with God after he had a stroke in 2023. Listen to this.
I have so much love to give. I told him, I said, man, bro, just give me one more crack at this. And I promise, I said, whatever reason you put this on me, I promise I'm gonna do right.
It was a beautiful speech. In it, he also thanked his sister and his daughters who were there for him, getting him through that dark time. And he said this award was more important to him than his Oscar because it came from his community. The other big winners of the night included Doechii for Best Female Hip Hop Artist and Kendrick Lamar. He won 4 awards, including Album of the Year. Oh, and Snoop Dogg. He received his own Icon Award. Snoop rounded out the night performing a medley of his biggest hits. You know that was fun.
Yeah. I love when Stevie Wonder presented Jamie Foxx. And he said, Jamie, just because you played a blind man in a movie doesn't make us besties. And then he was like, I reviewed all this footage, so y'all better pay attention. We're like, really? He was funny. He was great.
Yeah,
congrats to all of them.
It was an action-packed show.
Snoop.
Yeah, congrats to Snoop. In music news this morning, the Billboard album chart has entered its Reputation era. Yep. Taylor Swift's 2017 album Reputation back on the charts, landing at number 5 after the singer announced that she owns her masters and rights to all of her music. Always loyal. Swifties were quick to celebrate by streaming her old catalog, putting her music back on top. In fact, Taylor's debut album, Taylor Swift, from 2006 is now back on the charts. That's at number 64. Wow. 1989 is now at 73. And her 2010 album, Kate's favorite, My Daughter, Speak Now, also just re-entered the chart at number 170. Guys, in the week following the announcement, Swift's catalog has raked in a combined 222 million streams, up 32% from the week prior. Those Swifties are just a loving, loyal group. Congratulations to Taylor.
I know. They
so
are.
Good. Including your Amber. She was right in there.
That's what
I'm allowed now.
Trust me, she did that.
Exactly. We all did. Hey, finally in pop news, every parent has probably heard their child try to pull the old "I'm too sick to go to school" excuse. Well, Kobe tried it, but he blew his own cover when he got to the doctor's office. Check this out.
Yeah, he does have a sore throat, so that popsicle might do the trick.
Okay, baby.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Get it. Yes.
Yeah, Kobe. Kobe, very nice moves, but
don't fall for it, Kobe. Don't fall for it.
Apparently, a truly miraculous recovery there for Kobe.
Doesn't mean he's not sick.
It just means the man can dance, and that's pop news, everybody.
Oh, it happens. It happens. We are so excited to share this. An incredible gift for autism research. A new center. It's called the Lurie Autism Institute. Is being announced today as part of a joint initiative with Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and Penn Medicine. Joining us now from the great state and city of Philadelphia is Chairman and CEO of the Philadelphia Eagles, Jeffrey Lurie, and Dr. Dan Rader, Chief of Translational Medicine and Human Genetics at Penn Medicine and Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. That is a mouthful, Dr. Rader, but you're absolutely deserving of all of that. Gentlemen, we have been looking for this so much to announce this institute, and Jeffrey, you yourself have an unprecedented gift that you'd like to share with everybody. What is that, sir?
Well, Robin, it's, my family, it's been a personal mission of ours to support the autism community over the decades. And now with incredible breakthroughs in neuroscience, genetics, artificial intelligence, opens up all sorts of possibilities. So today we're announcing the Lurie Autism Institute in partnership, a unique partnership with Children's Hospital Philadelphia and Penn Medicine to try to speed along solutions and really an opportunity to move along the progress in autism science.
Yes, and I know that you're just so involved with this, and it's an unprecedented gift, sir, that you're also contributing to the Institute.
Well, it's about time. It's been slow progress. It's a complex scientific challenge. It's a public health challenge. And with the opportunities available to us now, this is a real opportunity to speed discovery. And that's what this is all about.
That is what it's all about. And I don't have to tell you, your players, your coaches there with the Eagles, and congratulations again on the big Super Bowl victory. But just talk about, Jeffrey, talk about how they have become involved in what you're doing.
Yeah, the entire organization, we've sort of are the voice of the 1 in 31 affected by autism, from Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, Brandon Graham, all the young players. It's endless. They all find ways of fundraising for Eagles Autism Foundation, where all the money goes to research, and everyone is just feeling a huge part of it, and they are a big part of it, our players and coaches.
I know they are truly engaged. And Dr. Rader, thank you so much for the work that you do as well. Can you just let people know the state of autism in our country right now, and how this institute, how it will make a difference?
Yes, there have been really a lot of advances in our understanding of autism, but there is still so much we don't understand. Penn Medicine and Children's Hospital of Philadelphia have collaborated to make a lot of amazing discoveries, develop transformational therapeutics that have really saved lives and altered the lives of many. And this amazing gift from Jeffrey and his family, creating the Lurie Autism Institute, allows us to bring together all the amazing researchers at Penn and CHOP who are working in autism, as well as to draw in additional researchers who are quite talented, who really might want to work on autism for the first time and really help us synergize to move the ball forward in terms of really understanding autism, a critical issue for the field as we go forward.
And so many families, I don't know of any family that is not touched by autism. So just can you talk a little bit more about the next steps for the advancement in research when it comes to autism and awareness?
So the next steps in research include really understanding all the work that's been done in the genetics and how these genes influence risk, understanding the environmental exposures that interact with the genetics to increase risk, understanding how we can identify children who are at risk before they develop symptoms and intervene in ways that can actually reduce their risk of developing autism. And then finally, I really want to emphasize that autism is a very wide spectrum of individuals. Every patient, every individual with autism is unique. It includes both children and adults. And individuals with autism contribute to our society in beautiful and important ways.
Yes.
It's very important for us to understand their lived experience and how we can use that understanding to improve the lives of individuals with autism.
Thank you, and bless you both. That was so very powerful, and people really needed to hear that message. And Jeffrey Lurie, thank you so much. Thank you both very much. Congratulations again, and we can't wait, and especially Michael can't wait to see what you do next season with the Eagles. Thank you so much, sir. You both.
Thank you all.
You both take care. Take care now, Michael.
We've been on the Eagles heavy the last few weeks or so. All right, we're going to go now to deals and steals with those rising temperatures. Tori Johnson has the amazing product for when you're on the go. Good morning, Tori. Let's get to it. What we got?
Let's do it. This is Coolie Bar. For 20 years, they've been innovating sun protective clothing. All of the fabric has UPF 50. So whether you've got those little gloves right there or arm sleeves or hats, we've got the full range of clothing, and all of it today is 50% off. You don't want to go outside without it.
You can use your phone with the
Yes, you
glove
can.
on.
Exactly.
Okay,
or you can hold the golf club
know.
with that and protect your hands in the sun.
Ooh, I love it.
Okay, Born shoes. We've got all genuine leather shoes from these retro joggers up front to we've got heeled and flat shoes as well as dock shoes. All of them unbelievably comfortable, exquisitely handcrafted.
Yeah.
Again, genuine leather and all 50% off
Great
today
looking.
from
She
Born
love the
shoes.
leather almost.
Yeah, really nice
really
looking.
Good quality.
All right, light your way. We've got a big assortment of options from Night Buddy. That headlamp gives you full peripheral vision, not just what's right in front of you. So whether you are camping or doing roadside car repairs at night, or the tactical flashlight. We also have these, which I love the most. This goes underneath a cabinet or a dark closet. Any place where you need to add some extra light, and it's motion censored. Those are super smart for light anywhere. No wiring, no plugs, nothing required. All 50% off from Night Buddy.
Different hues of light.
Yes,
different, like,
exactly.
color.
All right, how about a fanny pack for your tumbler? That allows you to take all your stuff. Or how about this, an umbrella for reflection protection when you're outside for your screen. Or a teeny weeny itty bitty cleaner for your earbuds to get the little wax out of the crevices. Tech Candy has every cool tech accessory, and it's all 50% off, starting at $4.
That's like genius. Little genius wow thing.
Genius wows there. Okay, AquaVault. We know and love these chargers. So this one goes. This one attaches right to if you've got a QI-enabled device. This one is super simple if you've got an older phone, because it has all the attachments.
And very thin.
Yep. So thin, goes right into your pocket. We love these from AquaVault to stay powered up on the go. These start at $29. And then for outdoor fun anywhere, are we gonna dim the lights to show you sipped
Turn
in?
off
We've
the
got pickleball. This pickleball net. So whoa, we don't want to break the equipment even though we're moving. Yikes! So that whole set right there, 50% off, and you get to play pickleball absolutely anywhere. But we've got a huge assortment from them, including balls that light up. This really fun table. I know you said that was like a Gary-sized table, but that's a fun one for everybody. This makes outdoor fun all the more accessible because you can play this pickleball anywhere. All 50% off and free shipping.
Only thing more amazing than your deals is that Gary can see over the net. All right, we partnered with these companies on these deals. Get them on our website, goodmorningamerica.com. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to GMA, live from Times Square.
Exhale as we prepare to say goodbye to our home for a quarter of a century. We're going to look back on the place where we've watched artists like, oh my gosh, the list goes on and on. Beyonce, Taylor, Alicia. Well, they rocked a Times Square crowd. We're starting a new chapter next week, but right now, you want to take a trip down memory lane?
Yes, please.
Let's do it.
5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Times Square is, never sleeps.
It's in the middle of New York City. It's a zoo outside sometimes. Inside it kind of is too.
Milk, please, milk. I don't want to ask twice.
Pretty good. Now you just gotta flip.
All right. It's just the energy and the fun that I have with everybody when we show up every day to do our jobs.
Man.
Go for it.
Magma.
The conversations that we have.
Come on, man.
Oh, I don't want none.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, America.
I just feel lucky to be with all four of you. This is like I'm with the Avengers.
So many reunions that we've done.
Come on out and meet your sister.
The weddings. The weddings.
I now pronounce you married. Please kiss your spouse.
Oh, my ultimate favorite moment has got to be the day Robin came back from her bone marrow transplant. It was just the most emotional, happy, joyous moment I ever experienced on set.
That was a really, really special moment because I wasn't sure when I left 174 days before if I would be back. And so to be back and to be just embraced as I was really, really special. And I have been waiting 174 days to say this. Good morning, America.
My life happened here. I was able to do my dream job while procuring a husband and a family. The announcements for my pregnancies, I remember being the most nervous about. We were talking about how my belly was going to create a shadow. We made a fun little graphic.
Some of my favorite moments here involve my family. You know, mostly it was at my expense, but whenever Allie appeared on the show, including with her way over the top birthday wishes for me.
George, I never ever get to see you at home. I love you. I shaved my legs and made you a steak. Happy birthday, baby.
Good morning, America. You ready?
When I say we did concerts, we shut down 44th Street for Beyonce.
The showstopper for me is Alicia Keys singing New York, New York here in Times Square.
These streets will make you feel brand new. Big lights will inspire you. Clap along if you know.
I'm going to the roof of the building in Times Square. Pharrell is here, and he'll be singing Happy, and we just burst into dance.
Taylor Swift.
Shake, shake, shake.
Here in Times Square, huge concert, and Taylor was so gracious. Everyone was so excited about what was going on.
Being on Dancing with the Stars and like coming home after being on a finale.
After flying all night long, we've got the newest Dancing with the Stars.
Flying all night, I will never forget showing up and being like, where am I?
Michael trying to get George to dance. I love those moments.
We're going to play that song again, and George is going to do the nay-nay to it.
Don't hold your breath.
We did a reenactment from The Cosby Show, and to see my mom and dad sitting there and to reenact it with my sister, and I was playing like Rudy, like, baby!
To do a Halloween show and watch everyone dress up.
We always went big. The pearls are non-negotiable.
Alana, who's one of our producers, just loved on Halloween making me one of the weirdest looking characters. I am the Hulk, and my belly and my bottom are like popping out of this outfit. Everything from being Ariana Grande to Sharknado.
Where do I begin? I was Chewbacca, but with a bow. That was one of my favorites. I was the clown from that really scary movie. I have walked down these hallways as Thor. I have been Lady Gaga. I have been Miley on a wrecking ball. One day I climbed into a giant martini glass as Liza Minnelli, and it just felt right. Truly, truly, one of my favorite bonding moments with Robin, my sister, was being Laverne and Shirley in this studio.
Hang on, Laverne!
We see so much of life just by looking out the window.
I wanted to get one of those window washing things that lifts you up. I just came up on this window washer behind her.
Can we get a squeal? I just need one squeal.
One of my favorite guests has to be Jack Hanna, bringing animals that run.
Unbutton your shirt. See, that's the problem. You can't get down your shirt.
You're on your own, Sam.
And jump and sit on your head.
They mark your territory by urinating. That's why you have the hat on. Are you kidding me?
Any blooper moments? I'm sure there are plenty, and if I can't remember them, we have good producers who sure do. It'll pop up right now. Blooper.
You had a great snap.
You're asking me if I have fails and bloopers? 3.
Most of them involve Sam Champion in some fashion or another. I think I once called him a shrimp on a treadmill.
Look at this shrimp on a treadmill. Oh, I'm sorry. Shrimp on a treadmill?
I was wondering why you
Wait, George, is this it? Like, that's the worst introduction I've ever had, George. And we just laughed about it for a very long time.
I'm driving the DeLorean or something. I'm on live TV, and the smoke is in the car, and it's supposed to pour out, and the car is filling with smoke.
Lara,
where are you?
I can't get out of the car. Yeah, that was a day.
A little smoke. I almost had a little problem in there.
I was down in the basement. It was live, and I was supposed to come out, and somebody locked the doors. Hello? It's like, hello, someone got the key, get me out. But those are the moments.
And people know we make mistakes. And when you can laugh about it, it's great.
See, it says me right here.
Oh, but it says me right here, revision 2. Now the top headlines are following.
It doesn't feel like a job when you're having fun.
What's happening right now?
I have no idea where George is. I might have tied him up.
You notice the chair is moving across?
Yes, I do notice it is moving across.
That was unbelievable. What a spectacle.
The true love of my life I met right here in Times Square Studio. I love you, Pepe. Come downtown. I'll give you directions.
Amor.
Okay.
So many wonderful things.
Yes.
Great moment.
Oh, that was great to the producers.
And that's the beautiful part is that the memories are here, but I keep reminding myself we're just moving buildings, but the people still come with us.
Yeah, that's true.
So
New memories to come. New papers to come. Stay tuned.
That won't stop.
I guarantee because we actually don't really know very much about the new set, so this should be very fun in the weeks to come.
More locked doors.
No doubt.
You know, one of my favorite memories? You might not even remember this. Harper. Underneath, like we were doing the news and everything, and underneath the desk.
Friday morning,
She's like, she would hang out underneath the desk, and I was wondering, does America know there's like a 5-year-old on our table right now? Having a good time.
She had a great time.
But like you said, we're going to make new memories.
We are back with our Pride Month series, GMA Out Loud. We've known George Takei for decades, since his role on Star Trek. He has a new graphic novel out this morning. It's called Rhymes with Takei. We have a nice big cover behind us. Welcome. Great to see you.
Good to see you. And it's not a novel. It's an autobiography.
Okay, a graphic autobiography.
Yes.
So tell us more about the book.
Well, I've been closeted most of my life. I've been behind barbed wires, very real ones, as a child. And then I discovered I'm different, more than my visible difference. I felt inside, I was attracted to, as a boy, attracted to other boys. And other boys didn't feel that way. And I passionately wanted to be an actor. And so I decided to create my own invisible barbed wire fence within which I lived for most of my adult life. I came out at 68 years old because by then, it wasn't just protective of my acting career, but also guilt. I was protecting my career, my job opportunities, and there were guys and gals forsaking all that.
So you did it for them.
They were doing it for me. I'm an activist, and I was active in all these other social causes, civil rights movement, Bill Clinton, the Vietnam War, all these other issues, except for my most personal issue.
Well, because when you were on our TV screens and in our homes every day, it was a time that you really couldn't have declared, you know, who you were to the world. So that had to be difficult for you.
No one would cast me if it was known that I was gay. The object lesson for me was when I was a teenager. My heartthrob was Tab Hunter. I don't know whether that rings.
I do remember the name. A film actor,
You're
right?
Older than and he was my heartthrob. Went to see every one of his films: Battle Cry, Damn Yankees. But one of the scandal sheets exposed him as gay, and he just disappeared. He had a contract with Warner Brothers, but they just ran it out.
In your book, you say it rhymes with Takei, and I love, there's a great story that even, I guess, someone with Star Trek, they didn't know how to say your name right, so it's been something you've always talked about.
Well, even the producer, Gene Roddenberry, a great producer, but also a visionary, when I was being interviewed, he called me George Takei. The EI was given the Eisenhower, that I pronunciation.
Sure.
And I said, I don't object to what you called me, because that is a legitimate Japanese word, but my name is pronounced Takei. Takai, spelled with an A, A-I-T-A-K-A-I, in Japanese, it's the word for expensive. And Gene Roddenberry said, oh my goodness, a producer doesn't like to call an actor expensive.
So you're going to have a chance to do this all over again. You recently turned 88, and in the Japanese culture, that means second childhood.
Exactly. So Brad, my husband, gave me a great big party with my nephew and his family and all our friends here in New York. And he wrote to Japan and got the costume that they put on an 88-year-old. It came from Japan, a yellow golden hoppy coat and a golden bonnet. And I'm now into my second childhood.
I never knew about that. I love that cultural idea. Congratulations.
Thank you for coming in. It Rhymes with Takei is available now.
Coming up, our sideline superhero coach Chris Hawkins is about to get a huge surprise, and you don't want to miss it. Ike Ejiochi is out there in Indianapolis. We'll be right back. We are back now with our series Sideline Superheroes, shining a light on coaches across the country making a difference in their communities. Ike Ejiochi is at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, home of the Indiana Pacers in Indianapolis, with one coach who's a true leader on and off the court. Hey, Ike.
Hey, Michael, good morning. The NBA is getting ready for Game 3 of the finals between the Indianapolis Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's why we're here highlighting a very special coach. Coach Chris Hawkins here is a three-time Indianapolis Coach of the Year who took his students to several conference championships and state tournaments. But if you ask anyone here, they'll tell you that he is so much more than a great coach. He's an amazing mentor, a leader of men who leads by excellence. Let's all give it up for Coach Hawkins, right? Come on now. Now, Coach, talk to me. What's it like being a coach for this team for so long?
I mean, it's an honor and a privilege. Historic school with so many great people that have graduated from this school and went to do different things. You like Oscar Robertson, Ray Crow, Hallie Bryant, Stanley Warren, just to name a few. There's just so many people that have graduated and did great things. So just being a historic school that has so much history, and it's just special. They support us great.
Right. Now we have the principal here, Principal Franklin. Thank you so much for being here this morning. You've known Chris for almost 10 years now. So talk to me about the impact he has, not only as a coach, but also as the athletic director here.
When I first hired Coach Hawkins, he told me he was going to bring state title, he was going to bring glory back to the high school.
Okay.
And he's done exactly that. And so again, very proud. I have a lot of great team members at Crispus Attucks, but Coach Hawkins is an invaluable member of our team. He brings a lot to the culture and climate of our school. He does a lot with our students, not just our student athletes, because he's also our athletic director, but not just our student athletes, but all students. And so you'll find him just being silly in the cafeteria. You'll find him planning pep rallies, just wanting to make sure our kids have a phenomenal high school experience. And so for that, we're incredibly grateful.
Grateful. I know these students are grateful. So I got to ask you, you've been working with these students for almost a decade now. What have you learned from them?
I think the biggest thing is just, patience, just being able to, figure out just how we can help them. I think resilience, when our backs are against the wall, just being able to trust in them. I think the biggest thing is just the belief, the belief that, we can do anything together. So we're just tied to the hip, and I'm extremely grateful for them and our coaches and our staff.
Now, I got to ask you, you're a Pacers fan, I'm a lifelong Pacers fan. So what do you think about tonight, Game 3?
I mean, game 3, I think they can get it.
Okay,
I think they can get it.
Well, how about this? We got a little surprise from you. Someone you may know on the Pacers got a little message for you. Take a look.
Okay.
Hi, Coach Hawkins. I hear you're not only an incredible basketball coach, but a huge Indiana Pacers fan. Since you've had such an impact at Chris Addis High School, I want to give you 2 tickets to the Thunder Pacers game. Congratulations, and thank you for all you do in the community.
Did you hear that?
Yes, sir.
2 tickets! That's right. And hold on, wait a minute. We're gonna need some swag to help you out. We got you. Oh, the freshest. Miles Turner. How you feeling right now?
Feeling great.
Guys, we're gonna have some fun here.
Thank you.
Back to you.
All right. And congratulations to Coach Hawkins. He deserves those tickets. Good luck to the Indiana Pacers. Make Coach Hawkins happy. And you can watch Game 3 of the NBA Finals tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern right here on ABC.
Wow.
Yeah, it went deep for you.
Have the best day ever.
That's right.
Thanks.